Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Y'all know how much I love creating warm and inviting spaces, and color plays a huge role in that. Today we're diving into a common dilemma, finding the perfect paint color for your space. It sounds simple enough, right? But trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. It took my sister 4 trips to the paint store trying different samples. She is the inspiration for this video. A number of circumstances alter how color looks to our eyes after it is in our space. While paint is thought of as a single flat color, especially when one is looking at those little square swatches in the paint store, in practice, paint, actually all colors, have characteristics that modify how they are perceived by our eyes. Stay tuned as we uncover some surprising factors that affect how paint colors look in your home. Now, before we even open a paint can, let's talk about your walls themselves. See, a smooth wall is going to reflect light differently than, say, a brick wall or a shiplap wall. That's because texture creates shadows, and those shadows can either deepen or soften the look of your paint color. Think about a smooth wall painted a soft, creamy white. In the daylight, it just feels clean and bright, right? But add some texture with a Venetian plaster finish, and suddenly, that same white takes on a depth and richness that just wasn't there before. Consider too how reflective the paint or the nearby materials are, as the reflectiveness or lack of will either enhance or dilute the apparent hue. It's all about how the pattern interacts with the color. You see, it's like choosing the right frame for a beautiful piece of art. Now let's talk about how colors interact with each other, because believe me, they love company. You put 2 colors side by side, and they can change each other's whole personalities. It's like having a best friend that brings out the best in you, you know? For example, imagine a cool, serene blue. Beautiful on its own, right? But pair it with crisp white trim and accents, and suddenly, it sings. The white makes the blue feel even brighter and more refreshing. But take that same blue and put it next to a warm, earthy brown, and it takes on a whole new vibe. It feels cozier, more grounded. And then there's contrast. You know I love a good dose of contrast. Think about a dramatic, almost black charcoal gray wall. Pretty striking, right? But add in some bright white furniture and accents, and wow. The contrast makes both colors feel even richer and more sophisticated. Similarly, if all the walls in a room are painted the same color, they will reflect, and each other seeming more saturated to the eye. It's like adding a little bit of salt to a recipe, it just brings out all the flavors. So when you're choosing paint colors, don't just think about them in isolation. Think about the other colors in your space, your furniture, your rugs, your artwork, and how they'll all work together to create the mood you're going for. It's all about creating a harmonious and balanced palette. Now, let's talk about how color can actually change the way a room feels, because it's pretty amazing what a fresh coat of paint can do. Light colors, soft colors, they have this magical way of making a room feel bigger and brighter. It's like they're pushing the walls out. So if you're working with a smaller space, don't be afraid to go light and airy. On the flip side, darker colors like rich navies and deep charcoals, they can make a large room feel cozier and more intimate. They kind of draw the walls in and create a sense of warmth and drama. I love using darker colors in bedrooms and living rooms to create that cozy, inviting atmosphere. The right color palette can make all the difference. Now, y'all know I'm all about letting the light shine in. But did you know that the type of light in your space can drastically affect how your paint colors look? It's true. Natural light, like sunlight streaming through a window, it's the most forgiving. Lots of sunlight can dilute and weaken visible color. Artificial lights come in a variety of color temperatures. So when you're testing out paint colors, take a look at them at night under your artificial lights too. You might be surprised at how different they look. And if you're not happy with how a color looks under your existing lighting, don't despair. You can always switch out your light bulbs to create a different effect. Now that you know these key factors, how does one actually choose a good paint color? Here are a few key takeaways. 1. If there is much natural sunlight in the room, it will get desaturated by all that sunlight. Consider choosing a shade brighter or darker. 2. Alternatively, if all your walls are the same color, consider choosing a shade lighter than you want the walls to appear, because the reflection of all the walls on each other will intensify the hue. Choose a paint hue. As a bonus, do not get overwhelmed by all the white paint choices. You need to choose something much darker than you expect for it to come off darker than just white in your own space. This really confused my sister. Finally, if you remember to get samples and consider the surrounding furniture and fixtures, you're better equipped to choose the perfect paint color for your space. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching and happy decorating!